Yeah, so how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourselves?
Good, good.
Great.
Oh, is that a Grealish shirt?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Oh. Not a fan.
Right then.
Get that out of the way. It seems to be in Villa colours though.
It is, yes.
So are you a Villa fan?
I am. So I'm from obviously Newcastle, but my dad's from the Birmingham area, and his team's Villa, and I kind of followed that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Uh,
Yeah.
that's all right. But
So which part of Birmingham is he from?
I think originally he's from Erdington. He lives kind of like Perry Common area now.
Okay, yeah, that's Villa-ish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 3 miles from the ground.
Yeah, I was born in Selly Oak,
All right.
just off the city. That's
Yeah.
why I'm a West Ham fan, obviously.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Claret and blue though, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We're fine.
Sort of similar, yeah. Great. Well, this is exciting. We're chatting before you came on about. I thought your music was sent in from a label, but Bridget said you just
No,
no,
no, you sent it yourself.
yeah, you sent it yourself,
So,
and she told you off because you sent a WAV file.
I know.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know anything about technology, to be honest. I just kind of press send and hope for the best.
You just do my job for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the song, wasn't it? That was Home. That was the first we'd heard of
So
you.
that was back on
Yeah.
the 11th of July. You sent us that
Possibly, yeah.
back home.
Yeah.
Around about that.
Played it on a couple of shows, didn't we?
Played it on a few of our shows on Big Satsuma, and
Yeah.
we all said this is a bloody good song.
Oh, thank you very much.
And then we played it a few times, and then we played it again, and then we were just keeping an eye on social media. It was like I saw this thing about number 3 in the charts, and I said to Bridget, I said, "No, this is like iTunes chart or something like that." And I thought, hang on a minute, he's ahead of Twist and Shout by the Beatles and Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Harry Styles has just pipped him.
Oh, no, right.
What? So and I sent you a copy of it. Said this is the official physical like product.
Yeah.
Chart.
Yeah, so it's the physical singles charts. The annoying thing about it is Harry Styles wasn't in the top 20 the week before or the week after.
Oh.
And Thursday was the final cut-off day for selling CDs. So I'm pushing it as much as I can. And then Harry Styles announces his worldwide tour and just sells tens of thousands of CDs. And I'm like, oh, we were that close.
It's all your promo. That's what it was.
You scared him.
Yeah.
That was it, yeah. He had to release the tour that day.
I'm a whippersnapper.
So when you were sending the track out to the stations and whoever else you were sending it to, I mean, you're putting out in your email, I want to get into the charts. So you determined you were going to do it, weren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that was the challenge. I'm a firm believer if you're trying to aim for it, you've kind of got to act like you're already there. It's like a law of attraction kind of thing. Like, yeah, I'm going to get in the charts. It was more a question of how high. Like, top 10 was all right, but if I got in the top 9,364th, that'd be a bit. So yeah, but third was a massive shock when that came through.
Well, you did it. So tell us a bit about the run up before that. How long have you been performing for? Because you do like covers and your own stuff and
Yeah.
kinds of pubs and circuits and stuff like that. So how long have you been doing it?
So it started 2017. I picked up a guitar and started teaching myself. It was the Ed Sheeran Divide album that came out. And I was all right. I had a guitar. I was wanting to learn, but I just never got around to it. And then I got the YouTube and the apps up, and I started going from there. About 6 months after that, I started going to local open mic nights. And obviously, I wasn't sounding great because I'd been doing it for 6 months, and it's difficult to sing and play a guitar, let alone do it in front of an audience. But I just kept going 3-4 times a week, different ones, and then eventually, small festivals like, oh, well, we'll pay you to do a 20-minute set, and then that built up to pubs were like, right, well, we'll pay you to do a full set, and then by 2019, I went full time into music, and it's just full time covers really. And then the pandemic hit and everything went stop for a bit, and then
Yeah.
come back out with maybe 10 to 15 gigs a week. And the issue is I kind of got stuck in the whole cover gigs. So it's very easy to do like Ed Sheeran and Damien Rice and Elton John kind of stuff. So my plan for next year is to make more original gigs, whether it's just in the Northeast or across the UK, etc. But I want to do a minimum of an original gig a month.
Yeah. That is quite a transition, isn't it? Because the people want to hear when they're had a couple of pints, they want to hear the covers, don't they?
Yeah, they want to sing along.
You're going to slip a couple of yours in, then get them on the feet, and then another cover, and then slip another one in. And...
Absolutely. I when I go down to Birmingham, I do a venue. It's the Castle Bromwich Cricket Club. And I went down there. I just played my third time the other week, and I got them to. They were all buying the home CDs, and when I played last time, the song had been out, and as I was playing it, they were all singing along to the song. So it was kind of like, oh, I'm at the point where I can get away with playing certain songs in my sets because the crowd's like dancing along to that one and singing it. It was mint.
Yeah.
So were you signing the CDs after?
I think I had them pre-signed, so it was I wasn't signed up to a record label, but I was working alongside one. And they were like, all right, the CDs have arrived. So I was like, right, I will pop in on Monday with a Sharpie and we'll just sign as many. I think I signed 200 out of 300 and we left like 100 unsigned in case people wanted just normal copies. But yeah, I just kind of signed them and sent them off. And yeah, so some might have them, some might not. It depends what got picked up in the shop.
They'll all be on eBay now.
Yeah.
No, they'll wait for you. They'll wait for your chart-topping album to come out. And then they'll say, "I knew him when he was nothing," and then they'll sell them.
Absolutely, that'll be the next step.
So, talking of albums, then you've got a collection of your own songs. How many songs have you got towards your chart-topping album? Then,
so I already have an album that came out, but that was kind of like a home studio recorded album, so it's not as top quality as say Home was. Then Home was the first one that I decided to go into a proper studio. And up north, it's the same studio that the likes of Sting and Sam Fender use. So it's like it's a bit higher up. But when I do a project, I kind of like to make sure I've got the next one ready as well. So when I had that debut album released, I'd already had the second album ready to go. And Home was a track in that album. And before I released the albums, I spoke with the management team. They're like, we should recommend just doing single by single, and see how that takes off before we go. Because if I'm going to do the album, it's going to cost a lot more because I'll invest it in the bigger studio. So I've got songs for an album, but I don't know whether it's going to be the album or if I'm just going to do another single. I'm thinking next year I'm going to do an EP, so maybe like 4 tracks come out all together and just kind of grow it up from there, I suppose.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. I don't do things in halves. I think I had a 14-track album last time, and I had a 16-track album this time, so it's it's pricey to record.
Right. How are you on remixes? Do you have your stuff ever remixed by anyone?
I haven't yet, no. But I'm thinking
we do remixing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I see what you can do at Home, and we'll see how Satsuma remix sounds. You know,
you might not like it, of course.
It's all right.
Probably will.
You probably will.
Yeah. Sure, I will.
It's a good song. So
it is a good song. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where you listen to it and you go,
it's that chorus, isn't it?
It's just, yeah.
Yeah.
And the production's really nice as well.
It is. It's lovely. Yeah, because we listened to it on headphones today, and it's like, oh, that is really, really good. We thought that the first time we heard it. In fairness, I mean, it's funny because we get loads, we get hundreds of tracks a week coming in now, from labels all over. We contacted over 200 labels and said, we're a new station, send us some music, and of course they all did, didn't they? And they're all sending like 20, 30 tracks at a time. So you look at all this stuff. So we have to basically, it comes in, and we've got like 15 or so presenters. It all comes into one. Well, actually, it all comes into Bridget. Yours was one of the few that week that we like played it. And, oh, this is good. Oh, played that through. Played again. And it's like, oh, that is good. And we get a few of those, but not many. And I thought it was a label. I thought it was a label that sent it through.
Yeah, no, I just like I said, the labels help me kind of challenge with the charts, but I do all the admin promo on my side. Yeah. My only downside is I didn't have enough time to promote it. So I'd had the demo recorded last year, and then I was planning to get it in the studio from January this year, but I didn't get it to me until July finished, and that's when I sent it to you guys. And then I only had a month to promote, which sounds like a lot of time, but it's not a lot of time to like get it out there and stuff.
No. Did you get much varied radio play? Different kinds of stations playing it? You got some BBC introducing.
I think it was BBC Newcastle that played it, but it was BBC introducing. I was mid gig, and when I'm gigging, I've got a phone holder on the mic stand. So if anyone shouts requests, I can just scroll through. Right, I'll play that one.
Yeah.
And it got to 7:30, and I was like half an hour away from finishing the gig, and it just popped up an email going, "Oh, it's being played in half an hour time. Please promote it." I'm like, "Oh," so I'm mid gig trying to do Instagram whilst playing, and like, "Okay, the song's out. Everybody, make sure you listen." And
Oh,
but that's the first time I got into BBC introducing properly.
so did you always fancy yourself as being like this pop star when you were younger, or was it a recent thing?
Believe it or not, I wanted to be a stand-up comic, but then I found out I wasn't funny, so I kind of went in a different performance.
That was funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
Like, I can't make 10 minutes material on that, you know. And then I got really into Ed Sheeran. I liked his albums and stuff, but when I saw him live for the first time, me and my friend Sarah, we got last minute tickets to see him at the Metro Radio Arena up here, and we got standing tickets, and we could see very close him with a guitar and a loop pedal, and that was it. And it was kind of like the fact that he could do an entire room with the loop pedal. And then we saw him at St. James's Park the next time, and he did again an entire stadium with the guitar. And you think it was more magic than just one guy with a guitar. It was like, it was meant to watch. So when I do my live shows, I do the whole loop pedal stuff as well.
I find that astounding.
It's a skill,
I watched. I don't know if you've heard of a band called the Ting Tings. They were out a few years ago, and it's a guy and they've got a guitar and stuff, and their sound is really full. It's really quite hip sound they've got, and I love their music, but I'd never seen them live. And I was watching them on TV, and they were live in concert doing this gig. Basically, it was those two with two loop pedals. That's all they had, and I was watching this, going, "Oh, how the hell are they doing that?"
Yeah,
it was two of them doing it as well. It's just amazing.
That even more of a challenge, because like for me, it's tough just doing one, because if you make a mistake, you have to live with that mistake. And
keeps going back.
But if you've got two of them going, you go, "Oh, it's really technical skill there."
Much kudos for that. That's as you say, if you make a mistake, just keeps.
You've got to start figure it out. Yeah.
Brilliant. So, what's the next step?
Technically, a demo album recorded already. And instead of just releasing that, like I said, I'm gonna either rewrite it or reproduce it in the bigger studio to kind of give it that bigger sound. So the home demo sounds absolutely nothing like the song that came out.
Yeah,
it was kind of good to get a different producer's perspective, and then they chucked some stuff on top, and it kind of filled a lot better. So I don't think the album's the next step. I think the EP that I'm planning for next year is the next step. But I'm hoping to have the odd single popping out here and there, and then see where it goes. You know, if a record label wants to sign up and say, "Look, we'll help you fund an album," yeah, I've got the tracks ready. It's the funding, I suppose, for the bigger projects.
So do you think you'll go out and play these live before you get to bring the album out? Will you be testing them out?
Yes.
And then you usually can.
Yeah. So at home, I've actually been playing that for like 2 years before it came out. So when I finished my debut album, which came out last year, I'd already have been playing home at gigs, and I wasn't a big fan of it, to be honest, because it's my kind of background. I like the singer-songwriter stuff, so like the meaningful lyrics. So I'm a big Damien Rice fan as well. In home, when people ask us to play it acoustically, I kind of hesitate, because acoustically it's just me saying, I'm going home tonight, I'm going home, and it's like it hasn't got the same build up the loop pedal does. And it was really weird to release a song that I knew was just going to be a pop song. It wasn't going to be like that was really poetically written. It was just like, I really like that sound. But I'd been playing it for months and months, and it was getting a lot of good crowd reaction. It became my encore song. And I thought, right, this kind of has some connection to the crowd. I'm going to have to really give it a shot here.
Is that a song that you might feel more at home, maybe playing it with a band?
It's a weird one, because I'm in a covers band. But originals band wise, I don't know if I could do that, because I feel weird telling someone how to play my song. I'm like, no, you're doing that wrong with it. So I feel really comfortable playing on the loop pedal.
Yeah.
But interesting, when I wrote the first album and produced it, I didn't know how to play the loop pedal. And then when lockdown kicked in, I had nothing else to do, so I kind of put myself into that. And then I found myself teaching myself how to play the songs I'd already recorded on the album on the loop pedal. And then the next album that I'd was ready to release, I'd base them on the loop pedal so I could give more of a live atmosphere to them. And obviously home being one of them, it just kind of fell through.
So when you're doing your gigs then, I mean, you must travel really light.
Kind of, yeah. I used to
guitar, your loop pedal. I mean,
yeah.
The venue normally provide the PA, or do you have to take your PA?
Or just take my own PA. That's probably what takes up the most space.
Oh, right.
I've just upgraded cars, but before that, I was going up and down the country in a small Suzuki Alto, which doesn't exactly have a boot. So it was like sits down, one speaker, guitar, and stuff. And if you've seen pictures or videos of us playing, I've got like a small Sheeran size guitar. And that's simply because it's easier to travel with, and put that in the boot. That's fine. I don't have to worry about it being longer than the car.
Right.
So when the official charts notification came out, how did that happen? Did you get a phone call? Was it an email?
So when it was going through the label, they were the one that sent it through to them because it had to be registered to go into the charts.
Yeah.
And I was just on edge because they were like, "Oh, we'll find out at 6:15 Friday evening." I'm like, "Oh, I can't wait that long." So I'm constantly refreshing the sorry, that notification popped up there. Remind. So I'm constantly refreshing the refresh button until eventually it popped up, and it was, I think somebody, my mate Kira, messages first saying, "Oh, congratulations on the charts." I was like, "Oh, it hasn't come through for me yet." And then it popped up, and I was like, "Oh," I was kind of like, we made top 10, we made top 5, but third, it felt a bit like an underachievement, even though it's Harry Styles that beats, and it's not the worst person to get beaten by.
So can you remember what you were doing at the time, or can you not tell us?
I was literally just sat downstairs refreshing the computer. I was sitting around on edge waiting to see what happens. We'd spent all that day going, "It's not long now, it's not long now." And my girlfriend's there going, 3 more hours, 2 hours, 37 minutes. And it's just constantly countdown. And
yeah.
Wow.
So recognized in the street now?
A little bit, but I mean, my neighbors knew me as the musician anyway, because I'm the one that makes a lot of noise through windows just on guitars and loop pedal sounds and stuff. I did do Ladies' Day up in Newcastle in July, and somebody recognizes us as Conor Michael and bought us a whiskey. It's like, yes, it's my first recognition, so we're getting there.
Nice.
That was before the song came out, so fingers crossed that's more whiskies on the way. Yeah.
Well, the next step will be turning on the Christmas lights, I presume.
Yes, hopefully. I have no idea who to contact about that, but
Gotta be, isn't it?
Yeah.
Local celeb. I mean, this is quite nice because obviously with the radio station most of the music we play is unsigned, emerging, independent artists, people who've just been signed, and then we do probably about 80% is that, and the rest is classic acts, well-known acts. So it's quite nice that a lot of the people that listen are also musicians. So just when you think there's no way possible of getting in the charts, it's like, someone we've played, we didn't make your career for it, but you know what I mean? Someone we've played on our station is suddenly like in the charts number 3. So it's a nice little story for any of the musicians that are listening to say, if you keep at it, there is a chance that you could.
Absolutely.
There's a good chance, yeah.
Yeah, like I say, it was only the physical chart, so it's not kind of like we've had a million streams or anything like that. But there's still little gateways into obviously the charts, and it's a case of if my name's up there, it might catch the eye in like a year's time, and someone goes, "Oh, Conor Michael, I've heard of him," and then it kind of adds to that musical CV. So like, wow, why should you play our festival? And go, "Oh well, because I've got a number 3 in the charts." All right, yeah, okay, we'll give you a chance on the stage, and then it's kind of like builds up from there, really.
It's interesting you saying it's only the physical charts, because I said to Bridget, it's not the download charts. This is like actual physical. People have gone out and bought a CD.
Yeah.
They've actually gone and done it. So I think that's really, really good. And you did beat the Beatles, Wedding Present, and Pink Floyd. That's
well,
not bad. Yeah.
Just Harry Styles, but he finished first and second, so technically we've got to take second, right?
Yeah, he's joined.
Yeah,
you'd think so.
Yeah, I think he should give you one place, I think, for that.
Yeah.
Or he should book you as a support act on his tour.
That's what I said, but he hasn't responded.
That'd be the gentleman thing to do. Have you written to him?
I tried to message him, I tagged him and everything, like, oh, congratulations, but he didn't read that. Or maybe he did and he just thought too much competition there. So I don't blame him.
Because you sent us some pieces of music. Do you want to tell us a little bit about some of these tracks? Because we're going to play them. So Home, obviously.
Yeah.
When did you write it? Because you've been performing it a couple of years now, haven't you?
Yeah, I think I wrote it, I'd say maybe a year and a half ago, because it was roughly when Ed Sheeran Bad Habits came out. And I was trying to learn the song before it came out because he kept doing like little teaser trailers and stuff. And I kind of had a bass riff, but I kept getting the bass riff wrong. And then my bass riff was slightly different to Ed's. And then I kind of just built on it from there. So I remember it being kind of like, okay, well, we can kind of make that into it. So yeah, I'd say I wrote that a year and a half ago, maybe, or so. And then it's just been played like most of my gigs now.
Yeah. What else have we got? We've got Runaway.
Yeah, so Runaway was the opening track to my album. I released it as a single beforehand, but it was a weird one because I think I wrote that one in lockdown and it had zero meaning behind it. And I was just writing a song and I was just playing with chords and Runaway came into my head and then I started making lyrics up. And then by the time I finished the song, it kind of resembled like society kind of telling you to do one thing, but you want to be your own thing, and people are trying to not manipulate, but turn you into what they want rather than what you want. And it's like, run away, you can get away, you can do what you want. And then that kind of rewrote or kind of reconfigured the song and made it a bit more in that direction, I suppose.
Sounds like it wrote itself.
Yeah, pretty much. A lot of my songs do, to be fair.
We've got
you guys.
Imprisoned Mime.
Yeah, so I was trying to start a project with Northeast musicians or UK musicians where we were collaborating, and I was going to do a collaboration album, and that just fell through. It didn't happen, but I did manage to write like 6 or 7 really good songs with musicians, and it wasn't just the Northeast. So Imprisoned Mime was written with a lass from up here called Lily Cook. I think I had a song called 14 written via Facebook Messenger video chat with a lass from Sheffield called Jodie Smith, I believe. And Imprisoned Mime was meant to be on the collab album. I was like, right, we'll get this recorded, see how it goes. And I had another song called First Sight on the debut album, and I kept recording it, and it just wasn't sounding right. And I rang Lily up and I was like, would you mind if instead of the collab album, we put this on the actual album because it sounds mint? She said, yeah, that's absolutely fine. So it was kind of like a song about being left out of a group, and like, I haven't heard that song in a while, but I believe it was like, yeah, it was kind of like everybody push you aside, you're still yourself. And as much as you want to be involved in that group, you don't need to be in that group. So that's your imprisoned kind of side of things. Yeah. And I'm sure I sent another one, did I?
He Loves You.
Yeah, that was like
is that a true story? Is it based on life?
Yes. It's long story short. In fact, I'll not even shorten it down. So basically, why not? So He Loves You, it's an alternative love song. So if you've heard the song already, it opens with I don't love you, but I need you. And it's kind of like when you're with somebody, but you know they could get somebody better or somebody that's going to be better suited for them. And it's kind of like a song saying, well, he loves you, so why don't you leave me for him? And long story short, I'm actually now back officially with that girl. Anyway, so it worked out in the end. But we got a nice, sad 2-minute song out of it.
Right. You don't have rows about that song now, do you?
No. No.
not now you're a chart act.
Not exactly. Yeah.
You can do no wrong now. Yeah.
Yeah, sure I can. But yeah. He Loves You. Like I said, it's only like a 2-minute song, but it's a nice little acoustic. Chuck it on for a minute or so, and it's like, it's quite. But again, that's my kind of poetic lyrics that I kind of like to write. And if you compare that to Home, you'd think that was a different artist that wrote that song, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how would you like to be remembered? Not you going anywhere, I mean, but would it be as a performer or as a songwriter?
That's a really good question. If the songs were poetic, I'd say a songwriter would be like it, because if you write a song, it can be anyone's song. So the first song I learned on guitar is Ed Sheeran 18. Shock. But that's kind of like my personal song that I learned. And there's loads of songs that other people have written that are now other people. So, for example, Ollie Murs could do a love song, and somebody has that as a first dance that becomes their song. So, I suppose if you write a song, it can kind of carry on through generations and generations, and it'll always be remembered by different people for different things. Whereas a performance tends to only last the 90 minutes. Oh, that was really good. Yeah, on to the next one. So I'd say songwriter kind of has that more engraved effect.
Okay.
Would you like other people to sing your songs? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that would be cool. I've never heard anybody perform my song live properly. My missus has got it with a buskers night and done one of my songs, Time Machine, acoustically. But I've never heard anybody with a guitar perform my song. But I've got one of my mates, Scott, up here, who he's written and produced his own songs, and I play some of his live gigs. Nowhere near as good as he does, obviously, but it'd be cool to see somebody kind of learn one of my songs and go, "Oh, look, this song's by Conor Michael," and go, "Oh, I know that one," and yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah.
So, if I can give you one wish, right? But I give you the choices. Okay, if you choose one, you might not want any of them, right?
Okay.
So you can perform with Ed Sheeran at Wembley for a night.
Yeah.
Or turn out for Aston Villa in the FA Cup final with a number 10 shirt on.
Oh, it's a tough one because I am useless at football. I'm all right in defence because I can't put the ball in the net, so there's no risk of that ball going in. But I'd have to go for the Ed Sheeran one. Although I've said stadiums aren't exactly on my list of things I want to achieve.
No.
If I was to do stadiums, I would want to do the one stadium at Villa Park. Just say I've done home ground for me, and then it makes that stadium gig a bit more me. Like I haven't gone and done Wembley as well. I've done one stadium, and it's the only stadium I'd want to do. But if Ed Sheeran rang us up and was like, "Oh, I need a support act," I suppose I could spare 30 minutes of my time if you don't mind, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, fabulous. Right. Excellent.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much for having me, guys.
It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you.
And, it's been great.
Wish you all the very best.
Thank you very much.
Need it, but yeah.
Need all we can get. You know, we've got to beat Harry Styles next time.
Yeah. Absolutely. You'll keep it well away from you now.
I know, right?
Yeah. All right. Lovely. Thanks very much, mate.
Thank you very much for having me, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
See you later.